Hello there, my name is Lauren Jackson, an APQS sales representative and educator. I'd like to show you real quickly today how you can utilize your rulers in a border and sashing to get a fresh, fun design. This is a fun diamond design that you can use on any quilt top that will make it look fantastic, and depending on where you quilt will depend which part of that design pops forward. Let me show you how. Alright, now we're going to work on a ruler work style design that I'd like you to practice. It's a really simple one. As long as you have a straight edge, you should be able to make this happen. We're going to go ahead and do a 2-inch sashing. So I went ahead and I've marked 2 inches here, and then I've marked every 2 inches on the top, but I still need to mark every 2 inches on the bottom. So I'm just going to get my rotary cutting ruler and I'm going to mark, or if you are lucky enough to have a straight edge that has inch markings down the side, you can use one tool at your machine. Alright, so before we begin, I always like to practice by stitching in the ditch. That is the hardest thing that you will do as a quilter, so it's good to go ahead and get that down. You're going to use your straight edge. I've got a lefty one, but I'm not measuring with it, so it's okay. And you're going to line it up 1/4 of an inch away from where you want to stitch. And the reason being is because your needle space to the edge of your hopping foot or the edge of the ruler is 1/4 of an inch away. So you want to line this up 1/4 of an inch away from this line so that when I stitch, I will stitch exactly on that line. Do the same thing going across. When you get to the end of your ruler space, reposition. Your power point for using rulers is only where your hand is at. So if you are not quilting where your fingers are, then you are not in control of your ruler and it's going to slide and move. Right now I don't have any ruler grip on my ruler, but I would highly recommend getting some. It can be harder to gauge 1/4 of an inch away. Even in the camera you can see it just doesn't look that far. It's something that you'll learn to gauge with time, and you just need to practice, practice, practice. Now we are doing a diamond style design. So we have a 2-inch sashing and we've marked every 2 inches. That essentially is giving us squares. So this can be a fantastic design in squares. What I noticed right off the bat is that because I measured them separately, my lines don't exactly line up. So it's probably better to measure your 2 inches vertically so that you can get straight lines all the way across, and line up your rotary cutting ruler with one of those lines that you've already stitched down. So for demonstration purposes, you're going to line up your ruler so that it's 1/4 of an inch away from your first dot on the bottom, and we're going to stitch diagonally from the corner to the first design point. Stop on the ditch, go up. Now diagonal lines are some of the hardest lines to stitch, especially without grip tape, and that's when your ruler is really going to want to move. Now you noticed I wasn't quite getting into my corner, so I let my ruler slide just a little bit so I could peek in there. And we're going to travel down. We're going to crisscross. We're going to go to our next 2-inch mark. And you can start to see this design unfolding as we're stitching. You can get some cool blocks on point here. You can always tell when your points don't line up, so make sure that you measure and mark appropriately. Or if you have a really cool ruler that has a 45-degree angle, that's easy enough to line up on your stitch line, and it will get you perfect squares as well, if you're like me and don't like to mark. So now we've got a fun diamond design, but I'd like to show you how it looks different depending on how you fill it. So this can be a fantastic border design, but let's take it one step further. If we go ahead and fill in our triangles, you can see that what pops out. The squares do. Right? So what we really see is the focal point of those squares. Now if we go in and we fill in the squares, you can see now that the focal point becomes a triangles. So depending on what it is that you're trying to do, that fill can make all the difference for this ruler work design. Thank you for joining me. I'm Lauren Jackson with APQS, and this has been a pleasure to teach you this fun and quick ruler work free motion quilting tutorial. Have a great day and happy quilting, y'all.